the computer. So how are you today? Doing well?
I'm doing very well, except I can no longer see you for some reason. One second here. It's telling me many things, none of which I can. Oh, it's recorded. Got it. For Pete's sake, that's what it wanted to tell me. It already told me that. Hello.
Okay. Hello. So you're going to be joining General Hospital as Jackson Montgomery. How did that come about?
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, Suzanne. And I don't pretend to be prescient or be able to tell the future or anything like that. But I knew at some point I would get a call to do GH, not go out there and audition for a new character, but go out there to be Jackson, because everybody needs a lawyer, you know. And I thought it would happen a little sooner than it did. 12 years later. But yeah, it was a nice surprise. You know, I walked in the studio there on a Monday, still reeking of mothballs. So it was quite a wake up call.
Great. And so did they make you audition, or just, hey, come out and play Jack?
No. I thankfully they did not audition anybody, or maybe they did. Maybe I kept my job. I don't know. No, I think they brought me out to play Jackson. Woe to the person who tries to play it. Yeah, it was again. It's been a long time since I've done that, and as you know, and many of your listeners, watchers know, this is a very particular kind of acting. This daytime soap opera stuff. It's and I've been spending the last 12 years. Any acting I was doing was live on stage, either with my one-man show about Wild Bill Hickok, or I produced many shows. I started revived, I should say, a community theater in my hometown, and started a children's learning theater there as well. So I was on stage a lot. I was also backstage up in the lighting rail and sweeping up afterwards, but not doing that 3-camera thing that is very specific. And my first day was kind of a trial by fire. I was doing 2 full shows and parts of another one. So 3 shows on my first day back in 12 years. It was crazy.
Wow. And have things sped up a little since you did All My Children?
Oh, yeah. Things have sped up a lot. I was staying with my good friend and one of the most marvelous human beings in the world, Michael Knight. I bunked with him while I was in town. And we got to catch up and stuff. And you know, he said, wait till you go in there. Wait till you see how they do this. Yeah, because I looked at the item sheet, which says what scene they're doing when, in the order, who's directing, all this kind of thing. They sent it with my script. And I looked at it and I thought, wow, that's a lot of items for one day, you know. But I noticed that the scenes are a little shorter, 2 and 3 pages. I remember doing a 7-page summation to the jury, and that was just part of the scene. You know, back in the old days. Yeah, I'm amazed at how they do it these days and put out a good product. So God bless them.
Great. And have you already filmed all of your scenes there?
Well, all of them for this time. Now, it's my understanding that I'll be coming back for more.
Oh, good.
You know, yeah. However, we have this writer's strike going on, and actors have voted to go out if necessary. We're going to have a few preemptions from time to time because of what's his name, and I think that. But supposedly July 10th, the week of July 10th, it begins. So, we'll see. Yeah.
So you caught up with Michael. Was it fun catching up and seeing him again? And
oh yeah, I love Michael Knight. It was wonderful. He was very generous to host me that way, and I had a great time. Ran into Cameron Matheson and old friend Wally Kurth and some people from the old studio behind the camera. One of my directors, Gary Tomlin, I had worked with at All My Children. So it was you know, it was a lot new, and there was a lot kind of tradition. I mean, I've known the casting director, Mark Teschner, there for 30 years, I guess. So it was kind of like having never left, but being gone a real long time.
Yeah. So was it weird that for you that Cameron and Michael are playing different characters, but you're playing the same character?
Um, was it weird? I don't think I really even thought about that much. I mean, it's kind of a bit of stunt casting,
Mhm.
in that they're bringing somebody from one of the past shows on ABC that people so very miss so very much. Um, so yeah, I mean, good for them playing new characters. Went from Tad Martin to Martin Gray. Not quite. That's kind of interesting there. Uh, so, but I mean, I didn't find it off-putting or unsettling. Hey, you guys get to play somebody new. I'm stuck with the same old guy.
And Finola is playing the same character that you.
She is. She and I are what you call golden oldies, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, we're like Paul Revere and the Raiders back out on tour, I guess. But it's I loved doing this. I mean, when I first decided to become an actor, my first notion wasn't that I played the same character for longer than James Arness played Matt Dillon on Gunsmoke, for God's sake. But at the same time, I got to go to the ballpark almost every day and I got paid for it. And that to me, somebody who is best served, as are all around him, if he is busy, that was great. I think I might have had a whole different outcome in many ways if I was doing a movie for 12 or 16 weeks and then off for a year and a half and doing a movie for 12. I think that would be not good for me. And I think that anybody who can do daytime can do that particular niche in this business of show. You can do anything as long as you find a way to beat the boredom when you're doing a film, for instance.
Right.
When I did, last thing I shot was a thing called Gunslingers for the American Heroes channel. Now it's been on Discovery, History, bloody everywhere. I play Wild Bill Hickok. They hired me to rewrite it because it was all wrong and to play Wild Bill. And I mean, this was a pretty hopping production. They had they had A, B, and C teams. They're out shooting all day. Plus, they have what they call the black box, where you go in for your interviews as your character and stuff. And still, it's like so much downtime. And the daytime, you didn't have that. You went in, especially in the old days, where you would go and get your camera blocking, and then go down and do it for the cameras, and then dress rehearse the whole show, then get notes, and then tape the whole show starting at 3:30. You were there the whole bloody day. And if you were busy, you could be there 4 or 5 days a week easily, and for weeks on end. I remember doing something like 8 or 9 5-day weeks, and I was crispy when it was over. Because basically, you're going in, doing it, coming home, learning it, going in, doing it,
Yeah.
coming home, learning it, going and doing it, coming home, learning it. And but again, you're making a living as an actor. 1% of those who make any money at acting, 1% of those who want to act actually make any money at it. And of that 1% actually make enough to make a living.
Yeah.
So a tenth of 1% is some great odds. I'm going to be grateful for the outcome, and I am.
Right. Yeah. When I was in high school, I kind of wanted to be an actor, and then someone from University of Redlands drama department came to speak to our drama class, and he quoted statistics like that about how many actual working
and disabused you of that
never
notion.
Mind, never mind. I like to eat.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because I had left college. I was working as director of sales administration for a manufacturing company. I got re-involved in theater where I went to college there. Had the leads in about 4 or 5 shows over a year's time. I mean, I was getting cast and the people in the theater department weren't getting cast. So I wasn't all that popular. But I called my old high school teacher, Everett Lunning, who wasn't but 10 years older than me, I don't think. And we had become friends after I graduated high school. And he had worked in New York. He'd done some work on soaps. And I called him and said, Ev, I'm thinking of going to and giving this a go. And he said, well, I said, yeah. He said, well, listen, is there anything else you think you'd be happy doing? Because if there is, that's what you should do, because this is a miserable business. And you have, again, the numbers like we were recording, a 1 in 10,000 chance of actually making it, or whatever the silly number is. I'm sure it's higher than that. But I couldn't think of anything I could do that would make me happier.
Well, it worked
So
out.
I did it. And if I hadn't, I would have found something else to make me happy, but
Right.
you might as well take the first one out of the bag and see what happens.
So I know you can't tell us spoilers, but is there anything you can tell us at all about what happens?
At this age, I don't even remember what the hell happened. So
can you tell us
I couldn't spoil it if I wanted to.
what happens?
I'll be shocked
While Jack is in Port Charles. Anything at all?
Well, no, I can't breathe a word because I don't have any context for it, because I'm not sure what happened before or after this happens. So yes, and even if I did, I couldn't say.
Right, I understand. No, I just, I understand. I have a feeling.
I'm pretty sure those are the rules still.
Yeah, I have a feeling that you're there to defend Drew, played by Cameron Matheson, but I know you can't say one way or the other. So I'll see. And I'm really hoping that you'll be up against Martin Gray, because that would be a cool lawyer battle.
Oh, is he a lawyer?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a lot of lawyers that time.
Well, Jack's never lost a case. So
that's true. There you go. There you go.
I was the DA for a while,
Yeah. So I don't suppose
now I'm probably a probate lawyer or something, something easy, safe.
I don't suppose that you could say whether your character happens to mention Erica or how she's doing.
Do I mention Erica? I'm trying to imagine a world where Jack wouldn't. Let me. You know what? Let's let that be a surprise.
Okay. All right. So speaking of Erica, yesterday you mentioned when we were on the phone in passing that you had something to do for Lucius, that you're quote unquote. Can you tell us about that?
I don't think I can tell you about that either.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
That's
I'm sorry. It's a surprise.
Okay,
so
good.
I
look forward to that. So besides Susan Lucci and the people on GH, who else do you keep in touch with from All My Children?
I'm not a keep in touch with guy. I guess that maybe that makes me a bad person. I don't know. Well, I mean, on the one hand, when you spend as much time with these people as you do, the last people you want to see are these people. On the one hand. On the other hand, that's not really true. And I'm sorry, I have an alarm going off for some bloody reason here. So, oh gosh, are we still there? There we are. Sorry about that. Yeah, I keep in touch with Alicia Minshew.
Mm-hmm.
I keep in touch with Cameron. I keep in touch with Michael. I keep in touch with Michael B. Jordan some. Who else do I keep in touch with? I guess that's for Susan occasionally, but everybody has their lives.
Sure.
And I'm in Nashville. I'm nowhere near anybody, or it might be different if I could call and say, hey, let's go grab some lunch, or hey, come watch my kid play volleyball or whatever, but we don't live in the same places. So, although somebody told me that somebody lives in Nashville. Who is it? John C. York, maybe? Somebody told me when I was on set there.
There's a lot of soap actors that seem to go to Nashville. I'm not sure there's the actor who, I can't think of his name, who used to be he was on Young, the Restless and General Hospital for a while. He's married to the woman that played Jennifer on Days of Our Lives.
You're talking to the wrong person.
I know. I'm blanking on the name. Sorry. And I think Jonathan Jackson lived there for a while, and Steve Burton was living there. I'm not sure he's there anymore. So
yeah, they must be the only people not living here currently, because there's a slew of damn people living here all of a sudden. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's what you're saying yesterday about how crowded it is. Yeah, it's a great city though.
Well, not in my house, and I barely leave, so still the same amount of people here.
So you mentioned Michael.
I did.
Michael Jordan. I remember when Jack and Erica adopted Reggie, and so how does it feel that the two young actors that played Reggie went on to such great success?
Well, first of all, Jack adopted Reggie. Erica wasn't
Oh,
part of the
Erica.
deal at that point.
Okay.
Let's just make the. She had her own kids coming out of the woodwork. That was enough. Um, it was interesting. Who was the other Reggie?
I can't. Oh boy. Uh, the actor who died, who played Black Panther.
He played Reggie?
Yeah, he was the first Reggie. I don't think he was there very long. And then Michael B. Jordan
Gosh,
took
I
over.
didn't know that. I didn't know. I thought it was Michael B the whole time.
Yeah,
Huh.
I thought so too.
Well,
And I
Michael
watched.
B is I mean, I couldn't be happier for anybody than to see his success. He is a serious artist, a decent human being, lots of motivation, lots of drive. When we were on, he lived in Newark, and I lived in Jersey City, more or less right next door. So his moms would drop him off at the donut shop, and I'd pick him up if we were working together. That would save her the trip, and I got to hang with my boy.
That's nice.
So I'd pick him up and drive him in and back home, and I was just very impressed at how focused and driven and decent and young at that point. He was still pretty young at that point, 16, 17 maybe. And I remember when he did Fruitvale Station and it did well, and he got great reviews and such. He was out in Los Angeles, and as I remember, one of the first things he did was move his mom out there with him. And that, I thought, well, there you go. And that's the best sign. Everything's going to be okay for him. And boy, was it ever.
Yeah.
Was it ever okay for him? But very smart, very decent, very talented, very driven. So
That's good. Yeah, I guess you have
Yeah.
to be a
Well,
success like that.
doesn't hurt.
Yeah. So had you watched GH before, or some of it before you came on to do the show, or had you come in touch with it at all?
No, I didn't, because I don't get network television right now,
Oh,
and
okay.
I just kind of stream stuff.
You can watch it on
Um,
Hulu. You can watch GH on Hulu, just so you know.
I found out since you can watch it on Hulu. Is it?
Yeah.
They have like the last 2 weeks up or something.
Yes, yes.
Well, I didn't know that then, so
It's okay.
so I wasn't able to watch it. But the situation was such that wouldn't have helped me anyway. I mean, wouldn't have helped Jack to know anything.
Sure. Okay. And you do a lot of painting. When did you
do.
start painting?
Well, I was an art major in college. I was a sculpture major, but that had grown out of I was a pencil and pen and ink guy for years and years and years. That's all I really did.
Sure.
And then I started doing sculpture working in 3 dimensions to improve my 2-dimensional work. And but I never really painted. I mean, I had a paintbrush in my hand, and but never really. And I, retired, and I just moved to Nashville. And I didn't know anybody. I still don't, by the way. I didn't know anybody, and I thought, well, let's pick something up, Walt. You're still of sound mind and body, more or less. And so I saw the Parks District was having a watercolor class, and I went, and it was not at all what I needed, because it was basically a bunch of women my age sitting around talking and painting, not much of anything. And I really wanted some instruction, so I went online. I YouTubed my way.
Sure.
And that was about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. I think it was it must have been 4 years ago, because of course during the plague I wasn't going. So I guess it was probably January 2019 or so. And I was painting a lot. I paint every day from about 6 in.the morning till about noon, 1 o'clock or so. Oh no, I can't wait. I love it. I don't consider it a whip across my back to do that at all. I guess I probably sold about maybe just short of 300 paintings in the past couple of years.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm not sell them or not. I keep painting them anyway, because
Sure.
it's horrific therapy.
You do
I
only
need it
do you do mostly watercolor then?
all.
Oh, okay.
All watercolor. Yeah, I did not know when I decided to learn how to. Well, oil paints stink to me, and acrylic is painting with plastic, and I wanted to do something a little more organic than that. And
Yeah,
what's more organic than pigment and water, you know?
yeah.
So little did I know at that time that watercolor is supposedly the most difficult of all the medium
Oh,
to pick up, and it's been. It's interesting at my age to teach yourself something relatively brand new.
mhm,
I drew for days, so
sure.
that was a big leg up. If you can draw something and then paint it, that's better than I can't
That's
draw it. How can I paint it? You know. Um, so yeah, I think I was reading an article, an interview with Jeff Bridges in my AARP magazine, and he paints and he writes and he does music and of course he acts.
Mhm.
And they were asking him, "Wow, all those things." He said, "No, that's all this. It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's some innate ability to perceive and um, project a viewpoint of the world around you, I guess. And I guess that's what actors do,
Yeah,
in many
yeah.
ways.
Expressing yourself.
And so I think I tend to agree with that. It's the same wellspring, I think. Yeah.
And do you sketch out of work first and then paint it, or do you just paint?
Oh, well, I was going to say, what are you crazy? Of course I sketch it out, but that's not always true these days. If I'm doing a skyscape or a seascape with sky, sometimes I just wet the whole paper and start putting things down and pushing the paint around with either tilting the thing or a brush or blowing on it or whatever to get certain effects. So I guess I don't always sketch, but for the kind of things I do for commissions, portraits and stuff like that, uh, I tend to sketch. Yeah.
Okay. I have to tell you something after stop recording, but are you planning?
Ooh,
It's not that big of
I'll
a
tell
deal.
you who I worked with at
Yeah.
GH if you'll tell me now. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Are you planning to do more stand-up comedy?
Yeah, yes. I mean, yes. I was just talking to somebody today, in fact, about 3 dates this fall coming up. I've been back out on the road a little bit. I did a Valentine's Day up in Northern Illinois
I
just
saw
this
that.
past year, and I did a date just before Halloween, I believe it was, down in Tampa, Naples, and they were the first time out in 8, 9 years or so doing that. But I had some things that I'd written, and I thought, why not? And I got an offer. They called out of the clear blue sky and said, "Hey, would you like to? Are you still doing that?" I'm like, sure. I'm still doing it in my head. I'm not really doing it in front of anybody anymore. And they all went very well. And so, yeah, so, I'm not going to try to do it like I used to do. I mean, in the old days, Suzanne, I'd have 3 or 4 shows on children, blow out of there Thursday night to get someplace so I could do Friday morning radio to promote the Friday night show. I'd also usually do the noon news and sometimes even a 5 o'clock before the Friday night show. Then I'd have a Saturday night show. So I'd probably do some kind of promotional thing, either a visit to the mall or some such thing on Saturday, and then do the show on Saturday night, fly back on Sunday, what was left of me, and then back to work. And I did that for I started doing it in 91, 92 was the first tour. And the first 10 years were really busy. Um, I do 20, 30 dates a year, 20, 30 cities a year. That's a lot.
Sounds
that's,
exhausting.
that's
Yes.
a lot for me. Yeah. Oh, it was, but kept the weight off, that's
uh,
for sure.
Anything else that you'd like to tell your fans?
Well, I am. Yeah, I say this so often that I'm sure it won't come as a surprise to anyone, but the ability to say it here in this venue, thank you for that. I am so grateful for. First of all, let me just say that the fans of daytime television are the best. They are, people used to say country music fan. No. Of course, they're kind of the same sometimes, but fans of daytime are the best. They are loyal, they care, and they show their love. And to have been embraced by people like I have been across these 30 years, I guess, well, more than that, across these 40 years. For instance, when I made the little announcement that I was going on GH for a few shows on my Facebook, I mean, I'm not a Kardashian. So when I get over 1,000 comments, not likes, but comments, people actually stopping, 1,000 people actually stopping to write a note that was always supportive, always happy for me, always like, well, they should just bring you on there permanently, all that kind of stuff. To have that kind of support and love and care from people you've never met, and it's honestly meant on their part, is a blessing beyond comprehension. I mean, I'm just extremely grateful.
Oh, well, that's nice.
It's awful nice of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you were not just Erica's last husband, but her best husband.
Thank you. And that's what Helmut used to always say. You are the best one. So I swear, he said
That's
that
nice.
a lot. Yeah.
Because
I mean, he's
Jack,
obviously the best one, but
because Jack was not only handsome, but very nice and kind and smart and put up with Erica.
Jack was a white knight. Jack
Really
was
was.
the knight. I learned so much from Jack about being a decent human being.
Wow.
Seriously, I mean, they pay me a lot of money not to be like myself, but Jack was a stellar example.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot from Jack. I really,
I have to admit that I did not want Jack and Erica to get together because I really loved Erica and Travis. So but you won me over. You won me over.
Well, we were never supposed to be together.
Really?
No, that was never in the cards. They brought me in originally. I was a bad guy, if you'll recall.
I remember you were the nicest guy.
Pitting Adam against Palmer, and then screwed up my brother's Senate run by mixing money in a pack or something that I never did understand, but it was bad. And then they did that stuff with me, also a pilot, of course, flying Erica down to see Travis, and we crash in this old desert ghost town thing. And we had a ball shooting this, and somebody said, wow, well, that's kind of lightning in a bottle, isn't it? Let's maybe go that way. I remember Larkin and I were best friends. We used to go on vacation together. And he said to me, well, this is a fine, how do you do? I said, hey, I'm a new kid on the block. You think I had anything to do with this? You gotta be kidding. Nothing.
That's great. Yeah. And to think that they lasted all that time because Erica had so many husbands before that, you think, okay, when's the next one coming along? But
it was, you just had to keep your hand stamped in case you wanted to come back in at some point,
Right. I don't even know how many was 8 times.
Oh no.
Or that 12.
She can do it. She can name them all in proper order. No, it's a dozen.
Oh, okay. Probably some of them were to the same person more than once.
I think Adam twice. And didn't she marry?
I think Dimitri might have been 2, maybe.
Yeah. I never really allowed myself to count. It made me feel cheap and used.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's great. It was great fun. And you're very funny. And I can see now why you do the stand-up thing.
Again, that was a therapeutic thing, much like the painting. That's why I did it. And thank God.